All right, today we're diving deep into Avalanche, a blockchain that's built for one thing above all else: speed. We're going to see how that speed could totally reshape the future of gaming. So let's get into it. So, if you've ever tried playing a blockchain game, you've probably felt this, right? The lag, the clunkiness, that feeling that every single click takes forever to register. It's a huge reason why these games haven't really hit the mainstream. But what's actually causing this digital traffic jam? Well, it really all boils down to the basic tech. You can think of a lot of the older blockchains as like a single lane highway. When everyone tries to get on at once during rush hour, you get a massive jam. This makes the tolls, or transaction fees, go through the roof, and everything slows to a crawl. For gamers who need things to happen in a split second, that's a total deal breaker. And that's the fundamental problem right there. You've got this killer combo of network congestion and crazy high fees. It makes it practically impossible for developers to build the kind of fast, responsive, and fun games that we've all come to expect. It's just a massive roadblock. But what if you didn't have to use that single-lane highway? What if you could build a brand new multi-lane superhighway instead? Well, that's exactly the idea behind Avalanche. It's a blockchain that was literally built from the ground up to fix these exact problems of speed and scale. And the way it does it is pretty genius. So, how does it work? Well, instead of forcing one chain to do all the heavy lifting, Avalanche splits up the work. You've got the X chain, which is purely for creating and trading assets. Think your in-game sword or shield. Then there's the C chain, and that's where the apps and the game logic itself actually run. And finally, the P chain handles the boring but super important job of coordinating all the computers that secure the network. This division of labor is a huge deal for performance, but it's not even the coolest part. Okay, this brings us to the real secret weapon in Avalanche's arsenal. It's the one thing that truly sets it apart from pretty much everyone else. We're talking about subnets. And believe me, this is the real game changer. You know, the highway analogy we used before? This is the best way to understand subnets. Instead of forcing every single app and game to share the same crowded public road, Avalanche basically lets developers build their own private, multi-lane superhighway just for their app. And when you have your own highway, there's never any traffic. So what is it technically? A subnet is basically its own custom, independent blockchain. It runs alongside the main Avalanche network and benefits from its security, but it gets to operate on its own terms. This means developers can set their own rules, like who gets to validate transactions, or even better, what the gas fees are. And the power this gives developers is just incredible. I mean, total design freedom. A game developer can spin up a subnet and decide, hey, for my players, all transactions are going to be free. Meanwhile, a big bank could create a subnet that's configured to follow very specific financial regulations. It's all about custom performance, without compromise. Okay, all this tech sounds great on paper, but how does it actually stack up in the real world? Let's put Avalanche head-to-head against some of the other big players and just look at the raw numbers. When you look at this chart, your eyes might go to transactions per second, or TPS. And that's an important number for sure. But the metric that really tells the story, especially for gaming and finance, is transaction finality. That's the actual time it takes for your transaction to be confirmed and locked in for good. And that's where Avalanche just shines. Less than 2 seconds. Let that sink in. A transaction on Avalanche is final and irreversible almost instantly. Now compare that to around 15 seconds on Ethereum. In a fast-paced game, 15 seconds is an absolute eternity. That's the difference between a seamless experience and throwing your controller at the wall. And it backs up that insane finality with some serious throughput. Over 4,500 transactions per second on just its main network. But remember the subnets. Each new subnet basically adds its own capacity to the ecosystem, meaning this whole thing can scale almost infinitely. So you've got near instant finality, massive throughput, and endless scalability. What does that all add up to? Well, it's turning Avalanche into the ultimate playground for one of the most demanding spaces out there: GameFi. It's really simple. Avalanche just directly solves the biggest headaches for blockchain gamers. Those slow asset transfers, they become near instant. Those unpredictable sky-high gas fees, a game can set its own low, predictable fees on its subnet. And network lag when everyone is playing, with a dedicated subnet, that just goes away. And look, this isn't just a theory. Big-time gaming projects are already building here. We're talking about huge titles like the first-person shooter Shrapnel, the massive RPG DeFi Kingdoms, and the mobile hit Castle Crush. They all looked at the options and chose Avalanche for a reason. So, let's zoom out. What does this all mean for the future? Well, the opportunity is absolutely massive. And it turns out Avalanche has another ace up its sleeve that's becoming more important every day. $100 billion. That's what the GameFi market is projected to be worth by 2030. It's a tidal wave of innovation and money, and by being the go-to platform for high-performance gaming, Avalanche is putting itself right in the middle of it. And here's that other key advantage. It's sustainable. Unlike some of the older proof-of-work blockchains that use a shocking amount of energy, Avalanche's design is incredibly efficient. For developers and users who care about the planet, this is a huge, huge plus. It's a responsible choice. And that really brings us to the final mind-bending thought here. The whole idea of subnets, it's like giving every developer the power to build their own custom-made, high-speed internet that's perfectly tailored for their app. Right now, gaming is the most obvious use case. But if you have that kind of power and flexibility, what comes next? The possibilities are pretty much endless.